recording, and then when the meeting starts, I'll turn it back on, because we don't need to record all this. It's
Good afternoon, I'm Charles Edwards, President of the Rotary Club of Raleigh. I would like to welcome you to the May 2nd meeting of the club. With that, we're going to proceed into the invocation and then the Pledge of Allegiance. For friends, food, fun, and the fellowship of Rotary, we give our thanks. Okay, all right, we will proceed. Just a quick, that's right, I've got to do, hopefully, there we are, multitasking. So you can see the list of people that are coming to talk to us. Don't forget, if you're going, the conference in Winston-Salem in about a week or so. Yeah, just a little over a week or so. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go there. I've got to be out of town on business. And then, of course, the last Monday in the month, we will not be meeting in order to celebrate Memorial Day. If I can ask James and Charlie to come up, we want to make a presentation. This is due to the outcome of the fundraiser that we had a little over a week ago. Thanks, Charles.
So we had a great fundraiser a couple of weeks ago, whiskey and wine tasting at James's Art Gallery. We were able to raise a little over $7,000 gross. After expenses, that was about $6,500. Half of that we are giving to Gift of Life. The other half is to the club and foundation. So James would like to present Gift of Life with a check for just over $3,200.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
This one will be easier to.
Oh, I'd like to thank everyone that was able to attend. Also, the committee. It was the first time working as a committee down here in Raleigh, and it was fun to work with. I want you to know that this money will save the life of Rihanna, we met from Bolivia, as well as another child, because we're averaging around $1,500 procedure. So not only did we help the child, we wanted to help someone else as well. Finally, the following week, I spoke as keynote speaker at a gala in Charlotte. There were 3 Charlotte Rotary clubs that are starting a Gift of Life International program here in North Carolina. It will be the North Carolina program, and I'm hoping to get this club involved and working with them. So thank you all for that.
Great. Okay. I think Bryant is on. Do you want to say anything about Raleigh?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, a little faint, but yeah.
Is that any better? Testing 1, 2, 3.
You're good.
Perfect. Hey everyone. Yeah, just a quick update on the Raleigh students that we helped sponsor. I had a chance to drive them up to Oxford to the camp. I thought I was a young guy until I spent an hour in the car with a bunch of high schoolers. So that was a lot of fun. But great group of kids. Linda and Mark were able to join in. They did a presentation to the Southeast Raleigh Club and a few of us to highlight their experience. And Mark and Linda, if you want to add anything, please do so. Great group of kids, awesome opportunity for them. They seem to get a lot out of it. I think they'll be a great spokesperson for us going forward if we want to use them as testimonials for their Raleigh experience. And one of the students was even so excited, she's already signed up to be a counselor for the next camp. So I think a great experience for them, and glad that we were able to sponsor them.
Great. Thank you, Brian. Any questions or comments for him? All right. Moving on. Kevin, Richard, you got some announcements about volunteer opportunities?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. We have a couple of volunteer opportunities come up. I'll share a little more with in the coming days here. The folks that wake up and read, we like to on our bookstore. Now they've got all these books, now they need help sorting. So in May, there'll be a number of schools that will, we're going to help organize these books. There's all over the county. There's a low lift, about 2 hours, family friendly event too. As I get the details, I'll send them out and share on the link, but I think there's about 7 or 8 different opportunities to sort these books. Again, it's an effort to continue our partnership with Wake Up and Read, and they're still enamored by our assistance, and I think it should be a good gesture if we continue our relationship. The details to come, and I appreciate your interest. It's a family-friendly event as well. Bring the whole family, a couple hours, sort some books, and make some kids happy. So,
Great.
thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Randy, you've got an announcement? Yeah.
The Old Dominion Rotary Golf Tournament that benefits the boys and girls homes in North Carolina is coming up on June the 6th. And we're in the process of trying to put together 2 teams. That's 8 people. I've got 3 right now. Peter Sion and I are working together. So if you'll speak to either me or Peter, we can help you with information. The tournament is not going to be in Pinehurst this year. It's going to be at the Greater Downs Country Club in Cary. So it'll be a little closer, right down to Pinehurst this year. The money that you pay to play is tax deductible, and it all goes to benefit the Boys and Girls Home. And there's a Rotary Boys and Girls Home down at Guacamole also. So if you'd like to have information, if you're willing to be a player, we need you. So thank you, and speak to you in the Peter.
Thank you, Randy.
I should note, I played last year in this tournament, but I can't play this year. I'm going to be out of town. But I played with Randy and Bill, and if you want to play in a golf tournament for the Boys and Girls Club, for a great charity, and feel a lot better about your golf game, I'm playing with Randy and Bill. It's a great opportunity.
I knew that's what you're coming
You'll be there next day. Would you like a rejoinder? Would you like time to respond? Membership. So Shakima, if you can come forward, and Tom. Harrison is on child carrying duty right now. Otherwise, he would be here. So.
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Closer? Great, okay.
Following the owl.
Oh, that's right. Hopefully the owls follow you, but
Yeah.
anyway, today after our process of vetting potential members and getting to know her, it's a great day. Well, we're going to induct Shakima McLean into membership into our club today. She told me once I could call her Shake as I get to know her. So hopefully all of you will get to know her as well. But she's been to several meetings now, and it's just we're welcoming her as a great, vibrant, enthusiastic member of the club. Her membership has been reviewed and approved in accordance with our club constitution and bylaws. And we will now proceed in admitting Shakima into membership into the Rotary Club of Raleigh and the Friendship of Rotary throughout the world. And before we do so, I have 3 questions of Shakima and then one of all of you. First of all, Shakima, will you join us as we strive to live a life of service above self?
Yes.
Will you join us in our activities for service projects and fundraising activities in support of our community?
Yes.
And will you join us in supporting Rotary's efforts worldwide, which focus on these 7 areas: promoting peace, disease prevention, providing clean water and sanitation, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, economic and community development, and protecting the environment.
Yes.
And fellow Rotarians, will you join me in fostering and supporting Shakima as she joins us in our pursuit of adding value to our community through service above self? Say yes if you agree.
Yes.
Now, Shakima, I will ask your sponsor, Val. Evan's couldn't be here today, but our President Charles is standing in. So Charles, would you please pin Shakima with the Rotary emblem, which is now magnetic. It's much easier. Anyway, it is our pleasure and my pleasure to welcome you to membership in the Rotary Club of Raleigh. Congratulations.
Oh, yes. Well, you've got a guess.
Yeah, my guess is my child. They were out of school today, so it's happy to tag along.
Well, great.
Well, great.
Congratulations to the both of you.
All right. Again, just a reminder, if you know of anybody who would be interested or you think should be a member of this club, please contact Harrison at that email address that's on the slide. Birthdays and anniversaries, yeah, I'm ancient. So moving right along, Sean and Emily Doyle are celebrating their anniversary.
Wait a minute.
Happy
Today-
birthday, child.
We gotta sing happy birthday.
No, yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Happy
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Charles. Happy birthday to you.
I'll get back to you, Kevin. At least 6 back.
Oh.
8 years old. No, I haven't got to that decade yet. We're working towards it. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Shay or Elsa, okay. We've got a great presenter today. As you know, the Rotary Club, especially with Kevin's direction, does a lot of work with Habitat for Humanity. How many people in this room have ever worked on a Habitat for Humanity project? So a lot of us have done it. And I don't know about you, I've worked on 13 or 14 houses here in the Raleigh, greater Raleigh area. And it's really fulfilling to, even if you're just building a wall or putting up siding or whatever, to know that you're providing a place where people can have a life by having their own home. And that's really important, I believe. So with that, Elsa.
Thank you. I'm waiting for them to give me like a hammer and a screwdriver. Wow, I don't know why. So I am delighted that Habitat is here today to speak with us and would like to introduce you to my friend and also my fellow board member, Chase Inman, who is the director of annual funds at Habitat. Please come up, Chase.
Never had an introduction for an introduction before, but so thank you, Elsa. That was very kind. So as Elsa said, I'm the director of annual giving at Habitat for Humanity of Wake County, and I'm going to introduce our VP of Resource Development, Sean Maroney. Sean is no stranger at all to the impact and mission of Habitat Wake. Even before joining Habitat Wake, he was more than 4 years ago. He was introduced to Habitat by his father, who served on President Carter's Secret Service. He brought him in as a young volunteer to build sites growing up in Cary, and he remained connected to Habitat Wake's missions and involvement, and eventually his career. When Sean joined CBS as an evening anchor, Habitat Wake was the first nonprofit he contacted to start his community engagement on his own time. Sean's passion for the nonprofit sector eventually led him to leave journalism after a 15-year career to become the first major gifts officer at Habitat Wake in 2018. He was then promoted to his role as VP in 2020. As Vice President of Resource Development, Sean leads all of our fundraising efforts, including grants, corporate foundation giving, major gifts, as well as the launch of our new annual giving society, which is our Hope Builders Annual Giving Society. As Sean's career and passion have come together, his life goals remain to connect others looking to make a difference in our community, because together we can build homes, communities, and hope. As you all have shown us, you have been part of that along with us. Thank you.
This is how you know you made it. It's when you get an intro to the intro. And thank you, Elsa. I could stand up here and say gobs of time of just how amazing Chase is. Chase joined us from Transitions Life Care, where she'd been there for a number of years, and her expertise is with giving societies. And that's something I'm going to be touching on over the course of this discussion, because COVID really had required us to be nimble and to be changing, evolving. And that's a part of that strategy. One other thing I noticed though, Charles, the cake, the pie was first in line. Is it because of your special day?
Yeah, but I haven't had any yet, so there better be some left. No pressure.
Well, it is delicious. So it was so great to see so many hands raised off the top when asked whether or not anyone here has been on a build before, because normally that's the first question we always ask. So it's nice to know that, because that allows me to tailor my remarks a little bit more, because I've gotten some really good, pointed, but discerning questions about how exactly Habitat for Humanity, regardless of where an affiliate is located, how one does service, how one does building, how one does help families be empowered to achieve the American dream. So think about it. We all take for granted the American dream. We grew up hearing about it. Think about in your own life, have you achieved the American dream? What does that mean for you? Do you think it's different for all the folks at your table? Do you think it's different from all the other folks in this room? Or do you think generally everyone here can agree upon what the American dream is? There was a headline that came out just last week. And I need my glasses now, so I am too. But this was with The Hill, and the headline was "More Americans Losing Confidence They Will Ever Own a Home." So this is a national trend, this headline. Think about all the headlines we've seen. I see you have Jason Christie coming, great guy. But think of all the headlines that we've seen on the TVJ within the past year alone. Think about what it means to say you live in Wake County now, and how more and more folks, perhaps, that you're seeing who are coming to the area, moving out to Johnston County or elsewhere. Think about that commute. Think about the changing neighborhoods. Think about if you've been in Raleigh for, let's just say 30 years. Think about how different neighborhoods have become. Shoot, think about the last 10 years. I came back to town in 2013, and I had left the Triangle for my other career back in 2006. The Raleigh that I knew when I was at school at some university in Carborough, we don't have to talk about it. But when I graduated, things had changed drastically just in our beautiful capital city. And that's progress, yes, and that's something to be celebrated. Then when I came back in 2013, what is this Midtown? What is this North Hills? What happened to the mall that was underground? And now, as I stand here, arguably the best view in all of Raleigh, and I look out that window, that's North Hills, right? Right? There is going to be penthouse apartments for more than $14,000 a month. That is no hyperbole. $14,000 plus a month, and last time I checked, most of them had been spoken for. Haven't even been built yet. Midtown, North Hills, not even in downtown, not even ITV. That's incredible to think about that, to think about the farmland over off of Kildare Farms, to think about Wake Forest and how that's turning into a major spoke, major hub for all of us. It's remarkable. You know, more people live here in our area than in Charlotte, but we're just sprawled out a bit more. We're not as concentrated, not as dense. So these are all things, as we think about what the American dream is, that kind of play into what we can do together as a community to help others get a leg up, that if we hadn't got ourselves directly, then certainly our fathers, our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers, and I'm sticking on the father's side because, you know, generally that's how things were done, especially if you look like me in years past. That's the question of equity. That's the question of inclusion. That's the question of diversity. And that's something that we're all grappling with to figure out how to do that delicate dance in a respectful way. And that's all that fits into what Habitat's mission is. We are a Christian organization founded upon the principles through Jesus, but we do not let that limit us to whom we hire, to whom we partner, to whom we empower, because at the end of the day, we believe everybody deserves to have that opportunity. American Dream is what we call it here, but we also expand as an organization to dozens of countries overseas. And it's really remarkable to go there and not teach them how to build, but to learn from their methods and just bring our own sweat equity, our own resources, our treasure. Talents, I'll put in quotes because I've been on some of these trips and my talents are questionable, but I got to build, got to meet new folks, got to get to know my neighbors a little bit better. Y'all's service above self, people of action is so endearing, it's so responsible, it's so different because that sweat equity exists. The Rotary clubs, no matter where you are, you know. Sir, you moved here from, you said Florida?
Yes, sir.
You came here and within your first, 2 months, 3 months, you're here just to check it out? That speaks volumes. That's someone who doesn't know where we've been the last 10 years, or at least has experienced it directly. This area is on the map. North Carolina is on the map for a variety of reasons. Raleigh is on the map for a variety of reasons, and it's exciting, and we're excited to be here. So Habitat for Humanity's mission is seeking to put God's love into action. Habitat for Humanity brings people together to build homes, communities, and hope. And each one of those things, homes, communities, and hope, cannot exist without the other two. And that's what we try to do. We are very blessed in terms of affiliates. Habitat, we could think about it as an overarching brand that local affiliates enter into agreement upon to represent and follow a certain code to be an affiliate. Out of the now 60, there was 70, but then COVID happened. Of the some 60 affiliates in our 100 counties in North Carolina, we, and of the 1,100 across the country, Habitat Wake is the third largest in terms of new home construction. We have one of the largest land banks out of any Habitat affiliate, with more than 530 lots, buildable lots. Over our nearly 40-year history, we have built, just in Raleigh, 650 homes. And in our nearly 40-year history, but really more recently, within the past 10 years, we have preserved 400 plus homes. So what does that mean? Well, it's expensive to find land. It's expensive to develop it. We are going to be putting in, before we can break ground on one of our parcels, and I'll talk a little bit more because it's our largest parcel. Before we can actually break ground to start putting in a slab, start putting sticks up, we have to lay a sewage pipe. And just to do that is going to be $300,000. And that was the price that was quoted to us last week. So it's going to be a little bit more when we finally get to do that. A Habitat Wake home is $150,000 to $200,000 for us to build. And we sell them at fully appraised value. So Kevin, you're here, you can keep me honest. You've built on some of the homes that are appraising for $350,000, nearly $400,000. Would you have thought 10 years ago that those homes would be selling for that much? No. But that's just the sign of the times. So how do we, as a nonprofit organization, bring people together to build homes, communities, and hope if it's a really dang expensive way to do business and really ineffective? I mean, Kevin, he's been out on our sites for 10 years and he's a regular. He's one of our blue hats, and my hat's off to him. But we, for the most part, bring in volunteers that have never swung a hammer before. But we have that sort of equity, that sort of inclusion on our build sites, because that's what we do. We want people to come together and to do what they can to make a difference. So how do we use ineffective, when you look in the construction world, means imperfect tools, which speaks to our Christian principles. Imperfect tools, how does one use imperfect tools to do perfect work? And we do that because of our community lending partners. We do not build affordable homes. And just 10 years ago, especially, when you heard affordable homes, that was a 4-letter word in many places, still is kind of. Slum, something that doesn't fit in our communities and our neighborhoods. No, affordable homes means the home is affordable. I don't care if you're making $1 million a year, if you're spending each month on your mortgage more than 30% of your take home, you're not living in an affordable home. So the homes that we build are not affordable in the sense of government projects, the bare bones of materials. These are homes that fit in with the communities that surround them, on the street, in the different areas of the subdivision. But we make them affordable. And we do that through our community lending partners. So we have our 3 main streams of revenue for us to operate. And we have a $15 to $25 million business, depending on how you look at our assets, because we hold a lot of mortgages ourselves. In order for us to operate, our largest stream of revenue are these third-party lenders. We're talking anywhere from $7 to $9 million a year. And then our second largest stream of revenue is philanthropy, our team. And that's anywhere from $3 to $4.5 million a year. Then our operating expenses are covered by our restores. Their net is close to $2 million. We operate the largest chain of restores in the country. We have 10 locations, 7 technically within our service area, which is Wake and Johnston counties. But we have an agreement with our partners in Durham as well as Orange County where we operate their each restores. And by doing that, 93 cents per dollar donated goes straight to the mission, goes straight to our programs, goes straight to building homes. And it's a remarkable way that we can do that. But again, getting back to our community lending partners, so what does that mean? How do you make a home affordable for a family who is making anywhere from 30% of the area median income to 80%? And so what that means is for a typical family of 4 in Raleigh, we're looking at about $74,000 a year. It's kind of the sweet spot for a family living in Raleigh. Depending on what other municipality you look at, it could be slightly different. And it also depends on how many heartbeats are in the home, how many folks are living in the home. That can fluctuate. But how can a $400,000 home be affordable for a family making 80% of the area median income? Our third-party lending partners, they structure the first mortgage at a 2% interest rate for the life of the loan. And now it's 30 years, but within the past 2 years, we've had a lot of 20-year homes get paid off, and that's been really fun to see those families celebrate. So that first mortgage at a fixed 2% interest rate the amount cannot exceed 30% of that family's take home per month. But that first mortgage, including the interest, has to be within their ability to afford 70% of the fully appraised value. So if you look at a house that's, and I'm gonna keep it real simple because I'm not the math guy, $100,000 home, I have to be able to afford a mortgage for $70,000 over the 30 years, including that interest. But that $70,000 broken down into monthly payments will not exceed 30% of my take home. So that's third-party lending. And we've been one of the affiliates that have helped bring that to the marketplace for other Habitat affiliates. And we learned it, honestly, from Virginia. Some great affiliates up there were doing it themselves. And they're also breaking new ground, no pun intended, with 3D printing homes, which is really remarkable too. So at closing, we, Habitat, we receive all that money for the full first mortgage from our banking partner, which we then reinvest into our business, which we reinvest into acquiring, developing, land, and building. The rest of that mortgage, that appraised value that we sold the house for, now sits on our books on a deferred mortgage at 0% interest. And we don't collect on that until the house is sold. We have the right of first refusal for all of our homes. And the reason we have that is because we want to keep the affordable housing stock in our area as even as we can over the years. It's getting harder and harder because we can't afford what these houses are going for ourselves. We cap ourselves. We can pay $200,000. That's the upper limit for a former Habitat home. And then the repairs cannot exceed $40,000. So you're looking at $240,000 as our cap for a new home that we can get. And we've been able to do that this year for an additional 8 homes, which is great because that means families that we were telling, we're sorry, we just can't afford right now to build the home that you're ready for. We're not ready. I'm so sorry. We can now say, hey, we have this home that will fit the needs of your family. Let's go check it out and see if you want to purchase it. So that's how we're trying to be nimble. Our area, Wake County, loses anywhere from 900 to 1,200 units of affordable homes, rental or otherwise, a year. That is a sign of progress to some extent, but it's also a sign of pushing folks out. And so that is another line of what we do, and that is advocacy. To make sure that public transit is robust, that it's diverse and spread out, so that folks who are in our communities can come to the heartbeat of where commerce, where business happens. So that's a quick overview of what makes us stand out in an industry that is very expensive. So what does that mean for a typical family who's coming in? What do they look like? And I just wanted to read some statistics of what our typical family is. So who we serve. They have to live or work in Wake or Johnson County. They must be a U.S. senator, U.S. citizen. They can't be a senator, a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. They can't have owned property in the last 3 years. The minimum household income, so that would be roughly 30,000 with a max of anywhere from 75 to 80,000, because that's the AMI sweet spot. They must have good rental and credit history. They have to pay from their own pocket $2,500 in closing costs. They're willing to attend required meetings and trainings, and that fits into this, complete 150 hours of sweat equity prior to closing on a home. We're going to go back to the pre-COVID levels of requiring 300 hours of sweat equity coming up, which means before they can select the lot and or the home that they want to purchase, they have to complete half that. And part of that is 40 hours of education, primarily financial and budgeting education, as well as how to be a good homeowner, how to take care of your own home, things that I generally go on YouTube to watch over the weekends. They get it from the experts themselves. So that is the meetings and trainings that fit into that. And they have to complete some additional in our community with our sister agencies, financial and homeowner education. We are a fair housing lender, so we can't require a certain demographic, certain characteristic. We can't turn people away. If they qualify, they qualify. But unfortunately, because of the typical American dream that we've all grown up with, and the same with habitats, it's a single family home on a plot of land. That's becoming more and more difficult in our area. We're trying to be nimble, like all other habitats, to increase our density. And density is not just building townhomes. It is going vertical, but it's also a smaller footprint. So if you go on Lake Wheeler Road, we have on that strip 2 homes that we're about to break ground on, and they're going to be about 900 square feet. A typical habitat home is about 1,100 to 1,200 square feet. So that's one way that we're trying to bring more density to our communities, as well as there's going to be solar panels on top of those roofs. But ultimately, it's not us trying to build a subdivision and just boom, 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 put houses in, put townhouses in. We have designs on building the first true community for a habitat anywhere in the country. And that's going to be on our more than 300 lots that we have in Garner. Who here is familiar with the talk about the Tryon Road, extension that they're going to go over, Richard? Yeah. So over Creech Road with the Gatewood community, we have acquired over the past 4 years 3 parcels of land. One we purchased, and that's about 96 lots. The other we were gifted in part by a local developer. And the third we had to purchase because the town of Garner required, for the amount of lots that we had, a new ingress-egress location. So all of that was about $3 million total at the time. And we are about 2 years away from really breaking ground and going at least with phase 1. And so what we've been doing in the meantime is talking with elected officials, business owners, civic organizations such as yourselves, to really help us think, what does that mean to do a truly diverse, inclusive community? We can't build it all. We don't have the talents, honestly. It's a big endeavor. So we're looking to bring in an outside builder who can have that next level of affordable options, maybe 120 to 130% of the AMI, so that within these 300 to 330 lot community, folks can see some progress, maybe from a townhome coming in first, then one of the single family homes, to maybe selling and going to one of the 125% AMI homes. We're trying to do more mixed use, mixed income. We're trying to partner with more business partners, civic organizations, because what we've learned in COVID is time is limited and resources are. Sure, we need to fundraise, we need money, we absolutely need that, but we also need volunteers. We weren't able to have volunteers out on our build sites for more than 2 years. That was an automatic increase of 30% of our costs, because then we had to get contractors, subcontractors. And Kevin, who do you rather work with, volunteers or contractors?
Volunteers.
We're a lot more forgiving, but we're also a lot more present when we're there. It's difficult. We're facing the same challenges of any other business that's in construction, except we can't offer bonuses. We can't pay at the rates that others are. So we're a good training ground for the next level for our site supervisors. But it's truly a calling, and one that I feel very generous and grateful to always have Habitat involved in my life. Chase touched on this, but my father, he did 25 years in the Secret Service. And I remember as a young child, 1 week out of the year, he didn't put a gun around his waist. He put on a tool belt. And that was when he was going to do the Carter builds. And I thought it was cool. I was, Dad, what are you doing? I'm gonna go build homes with the president. And so we are indebted to President Carter for really putting the name of Habitat on the map, but even more so, we're indebted to so many of you in this room for bringing us over the past 40 years to where we are today. And we humbly ask to help us get through the next 4 years. Thank you very much, and I'm here for any questions.
Questions for Sean?
Well, Sean, one thing you were talking about the typical homeowner, people, listen, when I'm on sites and I see first-time volunteers, there's a misconception that Habitat gives away homes. And I'm glad you explained that. The other thing about the hours, part of their sweat equity is their down payment, correct?
Yes, their down payment as well as building on their homes, or if not their homes, then building within the community. And if they can't physically build, then they're in our restores, or they're in our office, helping however they can. Yeah, it's not a handout, it's a hand up, and that's what we truly strive to do.
And I'll just say personal testimony, sorry, that it's so wonderful to work alongside a homeowner when they're out there and they're talking, they're excited about their kids. You know, some of these people might be young, single parents, but I met last week a 60-year-old man and his wife, their grandparents. And this is the first home that they're ever going to own in their lives, and they're so excited.
Eric?
So it seems like such a constant topic around here of local politics is affordable housing, and a lot of talk of affordable housing bonds and that kind of thing. And I'm curious as to whether Habitat works much with city and county governments on initiatives like that.
Oh, absolutely, and I'm glad you mentioned that. So going back to our advocacy department, you know, those bonds, we are out there advocating for and educating about. We are a presence for advocacy, not just the space in affordable housing that we operate, that is affordable home ownership. We're advocating across the entire spectrum. So whether that means transitional housing to affordable rentals, to affordable home ownership, we are trying to work with our sister agencies, partners, as well as our elected officials to find the best way to make that truly a reality here. So we are working on that, you know, and that gets kind of into the patchwork of priorities for, you know, municipal staff sometimes, or their direction. So there's a lot of interest, for instance, in downtown Raleigh, of the rental aspect of it, which is great because that needs to happen, but it's also, okay, so no one can own a home anymore. They're not, if they don't want to be a rental. So not to pick on Raleigh, but just as an example, it's something that as you go out and about in your own daily lives, think about, you know, at your office, who's cleaning your office once a week or a couple times a week. Think about who is your first responder. Think about who's your librarian. Think about who's your teaching assistant for your kids' teachers, because those are the folks who are buying Habitat homes. Yes, sir.
So what's the time frame between someone who applies, accepted, and eventually moves into the home?
That's a great question.
How long does that take?
We try to get it as little as we can. So for someone to do the pre-app online and then the application process, it's about a 2-year commitment for them if they qualify, because we go through all the documents, then they have to start doing the hours. And we really hope that our inventory that we're constructing matches the need of our homeowner pipeline, because it starts with who we have in our pipeline. What are their needs, so that we know, okay, we're going to need to have X percentage of homes with 3 bedrooms, whereas we might need 1 or 2 with 4 bedrooms. And so and Kevin correct me if I'm wrong, but we're getting it back to where we're trying to do a whole house construction anywhere from, well, roughly like 11 weeks, right? Yeah, but we need volunteers to be able to do that. And we have a warehouse, construction warehouse. It used to be where, remember the education lottery building off of Capitol? I think they've since moved, but I mean, the building's still there. We were on the back side of that, and that was our construction facility. And that allowed us to have a climate controlled space where we could invite volunteers in and we could build the walls. We had spray painted templates on the ground for all the interior, exterior walls. And within 2 hours, a group of 20 to 30 could do all the walls for a house, put it on a flatbed, take it, raise it up. So that's the start of it. But then once we're on the site, yeah, it'll take anywhere from 9 to 11 weeks. We've been getting back to that metric. It had gone up to nearly 20, but supply chain issues and labor issues, so. Yes.
Yeah, about how much time or what percentage, either from time taken to build a home or for the actual structure itself, is done by volunteers versus contractors?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
And then second question, do you have volunteers, electricians and plumbers, or is that something that you contract out?
No, we would, as many as we can for that type of labor, we would happily welcome them on the site. That's called gift in kind work. But so we contract out the electrical work, the plumbing, setting up things to connect to the municipal utilities. But other than that, it's all volunteers. You're not gonna be able to drive the crane though for the eaves. You can be there when the crane is lifting.
Even like laying out the carpet and everything?
We don't have any carpeted rooms. Yeah, so.
And I'll brag about, a point about quality, even though these are volunteers. I've been in a lot of new construction built around Raleigh. You guys, live in $500,000, $1 million homes. I can pick out things that your builder does that are crap. You didn't say anything, but isn't there still a guarantee that their utility bills are going to be less than $100 a month?
Yeah.
That used to be what it was.
Yeah.
But I mean, these homes are so well built that they have to bring in fresh air in the air conditioning system. And most homes don't do that these days because there's enough natural leaks in your windows and doors and walls. So these are tight. These are very tightly built homes and they're very energy efficient.
Yes, yeah, we build energy efficient homes, and yeah, that's something that lends itself to the affordability because we're not leaking out heat or AC throughout the year. Yes.
What's the best way to get started as a volunteer? Like, how do you get going, basically?
How can you help us?
Yeah.
Come this weekend? Absolutely. Go to habitattwake.org and you'll see a button that says volunteer. Click it and you can sign up. We're right now under construction 22, 24 homes. And we are excited to be able to break ground on off of Old Pool within the coming weeks. We got to put in that sewage line too. Actually, we just started that today. We need more stone. So if you know anyone with stone, we need more stone for it. But yeah, go to our website, sign up. This is an interesting thing that I like to ask folks now. It's purely anecdotal, but for everyone here who's built, who here built because they got brought to a site for their church? Wow. Who here built because it was through their company or they got a group together? That's interesting. Who here first heard about Habitat through a religious organization or, okay, perfect. Who here first heard about Habitat by the Restore? Okay. What we're finding, this is a little different crowd, I guess. What we're finding is more and more folks are saying, oh yeah, I shopped at that Restore, or I know the Restore there, or Restore here. That has been our first point of contact for so many. Our Restores get about 1 million transactions a month. And so that's a lot of foot traffic.
Do you use items that you get donated through Restore for your bills?
We do, but we had to, this isn't our policy, but we had to be nimble. For the appliances, a few we did mine from our Restores, just because our deal with Whirlpool with COVID went away. And so at first with Habitat, no matter where you were in the country, all the appliances were brand new Whirlpool through that connection, and that went away. So yes and no. So we just did it during COVID, but we're going back to sourcing it brand new for folks. And we have a warranty on everything. We have a warranty manager that comes out and troubleshoots. And this is something too, I spent a lot of time talking about third-party lending. I also want to emphasize, we have over the course of our 40 years, less than a 3% default rate. And we guarantee every single one of our loans. So if someone is behind and we've been working with them and the bank is not happy with their performance, we swap it out for a performing mortgage that we hold. That way our third-party lending partners have the best guarantee, they're happy, and then we can administer to that family to see if we can get them back through the agencies that we're in partnership with.
One last question.
So, what does the process look like if you want to sign up as a group so that multiple people are signing the same contract?
So that's great. So that is coming through our director of volunteer engagement, and her name is Kristen. And so if you go to our website, click volunteer, you'll see her as that direct contact. If it's through your company, then I'd recommend reaching out to our director of corporate partnerships, Josh Littlejohn, and his contact information is there as well. If you want, I'll give you my card and I can directly put you in touch with the right people.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much. Given everything you're doing and how many houses you're doing and trying to raise the money for, you need that filled with something.
Anyway, yeah, depends on the time of day. Thank you very much. I'll treasure this.
Thank you very much. Okay, unless there is anything for the good of the club, can we please rise and recite the four-way test?
President, your turn to serve.
There's something going on, I'm not sure what. Thank you, Jim. So the things we say and do, 1, is it true? 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will build goodwill and friendships. And 4th, will be beneficial to all concerned. Thank you for coming. We are adjourned.